There he is. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Just Get a Real Job with your host, me, Jamie McKinley. It is a joy to welcome back on Graham Cullis, who we've had on the podcast a few times, but it's been 4 years since we last had him on, so a lot of catching up to do. Graham, how are you, sir? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? And it's been a journey for sure, like the last few years, and there's lots, like you said, there's lots to catch up on. I can't wait to hear about all your news as well.
Yeah, well, I love the backdrop you've got going on there. Very, very artistic.
Base Age, a backdrop, and it's painted by a guy called Sam the Poet. I'm in my new friend Sophie's house, who I met at a market the other day, and she invited me to do some van life experience where we went to the beach in Wales, where there was some pumping surf. We had a fire, a sunset, and then she said, "You can record the podcast here in my son's room." So I set up here. It's beautiful, and I've got a couple of my paintings from the tour there that I could show you. We'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah, well, I've got some of your karma cards and painting
Vintage
over the years to hand, some from different points. I suppose a good place to start, Graham, is let's recap who you are for our listeners, because 4 years is a long time. I think we've got quite a lot of new listeners since then. People have dropped in and out. Who is Graham Cullis? Tell us.
Graham Cullis is an artiste of all different kinds of mediums. You can't sit still on one medium and just chops and changes, but is loving his creative life. So I guess to recap very quickly, and you can go back to the other episode that I'm on and hear the whole life story, but I discovered I could paint in 2020 and it changed my life. I realized how much it helped my mental health, and then that sent me on my ikigai, my purpose, my reason. And over the last 5 years since 2020, I've been using my art to give back, to help people discover the same mental health benefits, and not only just art, other kinds of holistic things as well that I like to do, like sea swimming, meditation, and all kinds of goodness. I try and advocate for that and help people discover things for themselves. So yeah, I'm a philanthropist as an artist.
You referenced the episodes you've been on before. I think the first episode you ever did was really, really early in our journey as a podcast. I think it was like the 13th episode. I think
I listened back to that like a while ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, because like I was so excited and full of beans, and I've had a chamomile tea today. If you do go back to that one, I feel like I was very hyper.
What I was going to say as well, if it entices the listeners to go check that out, I used to do poetry at the start of this podcast many, we're talking 2020, horrific in hindsight, and do not do poetry anymore. So there you go, that you want to go back and listen to episode 13 a long time ago.
It's not horrific. It wasn't horrific. It's beautiful prose.
It's a young Jamie, young Jamie. And then I think we had you last, it must have been like episode 58, and now we've done nearly 180 episodes, so it is mad. So
and you came on mine as well.
Yeah, I did.
And I covered your intro as a reggae ska version with brass instruments.
We said goodbye to our intro now as well since then. So lots of this.
That intro's not. Do you mean so that the listeners didn't get to hear that beautiful jingle before we started talking?
Probably not. No, I mean we sometimes do a wee instrumental from time to time, but it's this video age we're in now. It's all changed. It's all changed. Okay. So. The OG fans, they should know. But Graham, we're also recording this, right? I usually have a plan of questions. I haven't prepared much today. We're just shoot talking.
This is a phone call, as Blind Boy would say.
No, it definitely is. But let's recap that. What have you been doing for the last 4 years? Because you were in Bali, you've been doing Reconnects, you've been posting lots of great content from the beach with various celebrities, different people. What's been going on?
Yeah, so I've just been just saying yes to opportunities and just going along on my merry way and just trying to help a lot of people, like I said, discover things within the mental health space. Yeah, I set up a couple of sea swimming groups, one in New York, which I think I might have talked about this in the last podcast episode, got in the New York Times, the New York Dippers Club. I started my charity, or CIC, Youth Art Connect, which helps people with, basically we give therapeutic art sessions for either free or very cheap to young children and adults. And we're actually going through a bit of a revamp on that soon, because it's called Youth Art Connect, but we're looking like we might take the youth out and call it, maybe, this is very exclusive, by the way, and I haven't even confirmed this with the directors, so I'm so sorry if it doesn't happen, but Your Art Connection, we're going to roll it out as that, so it can be a bit more inclusive and we can give this opportunity to all ages. So yeah, and that's something that like I've kind of been a silent director, been living in Bali and starting up many different things and doing many things over there. But I've come back to the UK now to take that a bit more seriously because we almost closed our doors this year. But I'll talk about that in a second and what I'm about to do to rectify that. But yeah, in Bali, I've done all sorts of things. I set up a studio for art for creatives. I got into meditation, which fully changed my life. Like I can't articulate how much like it's benefited me. And someone who with ADHD, as an ADHD person, I didn't think it was accessible to me. But actually, after delving into Joe Dispenza after an episode of Diary of the CEO and going down a rabbit hole and doing the work and doing one of his books, it completely changed my life. So much so that now my podcast is Meditate with Graham Cullis, and I record guided meditations with my crispy, chocolatey voice. And it's almost like I'm back in a band again. I'm doing music again, and I'm producing these things for people to listen to and for people to help. But one thing that I got out of it is it's almost like the science of prayer. And since discovering this, I've been asking whatever is out there, God, the deity, divine, quantum physics, to help my mindset bring me abundance, and it's just been flipping amazing. I could tell you some really interesting stories about that, but yeah, so yeah, in Bali, I also, through one of these prayers, I guess, I got to a point of my art career where I'm sure a lot of artists here can resonate with this, that yes, art is therapeutic and it's great for your mental health, but once it starts isolating you and you're doing it as a job and you're in your bedroom because you can't afford a studio and you're painting every day and you're not seeing the outside world, and then you're in your bedroom doing all the marketing, doing your podcast, doing your social media, I started to realize I'd spent a lot of time by myself, and it started to affect my mental health. Luckily, I had the foresight to see that, I could observe that. And then just at this same time as when I started going through my meditation journey, I was like, what can I do to change this? And I thought, I need to paint with people. I need to like connect again. And it was just like, it was like a light bulb moment. I tried to look for property in Bali where I'd start something called the Karma Art Club. It came into my mind, and I was like, I want to have this space where we could all rent it. I could manage it, and then it'll be cheap for us to all be in the same room, but then we can also bounce off each other and collaborate and just have this like really nice creative environment. And then I realized it was too expensive to do that. So I canned the idea, but I'd put it out there, and then just crazy circumstances, one after the other, like it came to me one day after some massive crazy turn of events. Just to shorten it up a bit, someone told me to speak to their friend. Said they had an intuition to tell me, so they don't know why I'm telling you this, but my friend has this workspace that they want to put artists in, one of this like rundown room, and I'm like, what? The Karma Art Club. So I messaged him, Elan and Harry, big shout out to you and I told them the concept, and they're like, here's the keys. And I'm like, yeah, okay, right, so how much is it going to cost? And like, no, don't worry about the money. We just want the community here. We'll talk about money later. And yeah, so literally, like, I just moved into my own huge studio space. They put aircon in for me. They put Wi-Fi in there, put running water. They put lights in there. I got a lock that I could use it for 24 hours of the day. And then so it began. More people. I managed to connect with different artists. And now I'm not even there, and I'm managing the space. And I know that I've got 8 artists over there in Bali that have had that same problem as me. And now they're all connecting with each other, and they're painting together. And it's just so nice to know that little legacy is there. And if I ever go back to Bali, I can just fit straight in again. So that's one of the projects, which has been along the way.
Been a very busy man, but you do seem very chill. You seem very relaxed and very...
Well, I've had a chamomile tea because I knew the last episode I had probably had a coffee. So I thought I do talk a lot anyway. As
sorry, there's lots to unpack from that answer, Graham, and from what you've been up to, and I want to talk to you about quite a lot of it. But something I'm interested in, you're talking about the isolation of being an artist. I think currently at the moment, especially in the UK where most of our listeners live and are based, no matter what their creative outlet is, whether they do what I do and they're a podcaster or they work in TV or they're a painter, they're an artist, whatever it may be, it does feel like quite an isolating time because things just feel very difficult at the moment. It's difficult to make a living. There's a cost of living crisis. The opportunities maybe don't feel as good as they maybe were in the past from a social mobility point of view. It can feel a bit negative and a bit overwhelming. It's nice to hear you talking about community and how that can help, but also like discovering something like meditation. There might be people listening to this that are a bit like, it's a bit like whoopie-doopie. Yeah, woo-woo, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm quite an anxious person sometimes. I'm one of those people that is open to meditation but never makes the bloody time to do it, and is always doing all the things you talked about, promoting stuff, thinking about numbers, all the stuff that's really not actually the important stuff in life. Often I find myself drawn to or getting caught up in. How could someone like myself, who's maybe less, I don't know, I think I am open-minded to meditation, but maybe who's like a bit of an outsider, how could they get into meditation, or how could meditation help them?
Read the book, or rather listen to the book. It's on Audible. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Go through that book and do the work along the way, and it will open your eyes up to realize that there's actually a science behind prayer. That's the main thing that I got out of it. It's praying. I was brought up in a Christian family, and I'm so grateful for that and the morals I've learned and the teachings I've learned. And it's been, that's made me the man I am today. And I came away from that, became more agnostic as a teenager, didn't know who I was praying to anymore, and didn't really like follow the whole religious aspect of it. But then when I read that book, I was like, holy shit, that's what I was doing the whole time. When I was a kid and I was praying for a bike, and it came true, I missed that. I missed doing that, but I didn't know who I was praying to. But then now, reading Joe Dispenza's work with loads of studies, and I can't articulate it as well as he does. But just trust me on this one. Have a look. If you're open to it, have a look at that book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Write that down right now, listeners.
And we'll link it below as well. So if you want to click a link and find it.
And then go and do the meditations. One problem with the guided meditations for me, though, is it took me age, because when you get to the point in the book where you start doing the meditations, it eases you in really gently. You do 2 different types of meditations. Eventually you're doing about an hour every day, which seems crazy to some people, but literally it starts off with a 20-minute induction, and then you do another one. When you want to go and search for the guided meditations to listen to the script, you can either just read the script and do it yourself, which is not as, I think it's as helpful, but I couldn't find any meditations that I liked the listen to. I didn't like the voice of the person that was doing the meditation, or there was someone that had a really good voice, but they did it above this industrial kitchen with pots and pans being hit and run. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? So I thought, I'm sure that because I was talking about my whole journey on my podcast, because as you know, my podcast is a monologue podcast. I just talk about my life and what I've learned from it, and the mental health struggles and being an artist. And so I was also telling my listeners about my journey with this book and doing the work. And let me just step back a little bit. The reason I started doing the work was because of this whole loneliness thing. I started, I felt isolated. I felt lonely. I felt like, because I knew newly into the full-time art world, that I changed from different lifestyles to another. So that's where the isolation came. I wasn't interested in going to the pub anymore and meeting people or like that, or drinking. I was more interested in my creativity, but it was very isolating. And then I knew I needed to fix myself. So doing this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, just really helped me along the way. But anyway, right. So I thought there's going to be other people that have this problem about not being able to find a meditation to listen to. So I recorded my own, and then I tacked it onto, I'm not sure if this is allowed, sorry, Dr. Joe Dispenza, but I tacked it onto the end of my podcast and said that if, as a resource, here it is for you. I've recorded it to the sound of rainfall or thunder and lightning, and just really chill. And because a lot of my listeners tune in because they like listening to my voice. Some of the people say they like listening to the ukulele music and they fall asleep to my podcast, which is fine. So then I thought I'd put that on as a resource for the people that were going to listen to me and do the book and do the work. So they had it. And I said that I would send them. It still stands now. If anyone wants to email me, hello@grahamcullis.com, I'll send you the MP3s so you can have them. But yeah, those particular episodes, if I look on my stats, started cranking in listens. It must have been an SEO algorithm thing, because obviously I put the Joe Dispenza meditation from Breaking the whatever, and then literally, I looked at the back end, there's hundreds of people in the States listening to those particular episodes. And I was like, there's something in this, so, and like, it's given me joy. I really enjoyed recording them. And when I write the scripts and I put them together and I put the music together and the sound effects, the rain, I find the royalty-free music, it's sort of unlocked another path of creativity for me. But yeah, it's a long-winded answer to that. But yeah, basically, it's going to be good for your brain. If you can manage even just 5 minutes a day, it's going to be good for your brain. It's going to make your brain healthier. Yeah.
For sure. Graham, I want to talk to you about, you mentioned them at the start, some of your other projects, and you sort of talked about rebranding You Fat Connect, but you're also doing a tour of the UK at the moment in your van, aren't you? You're sort of traveling around, showing up to people's towns and villages and helping them be more mindful, get connected.
I am. It's called the Splat Splash Tour of the UK, and it's been a wild journey. So in Bali, I've always been trying to make it as an artist and in the art world, and I found that, like, in Bali I couldn't really, like, make that happen as easily. And Bali's not my home turf, and legally I can't really be an artist out there and earn a living. I can just, only a tourist over there, so even with, like, if I was to manage that studio and start making money out of it, I was not allowed to do that unless I have, certain visas. And so I was just doing that. I'm just doing that voluntary. I was just doing that voluntary, just like I wanted a space to create, but I couldn't actually earn from it. So I thought I probably need to get back to the UK and try and make some waves with my art on my home turf. And that was kind of like sealed in my mind after I met one of my inspirations, actually. And this happened, I believe, through meditation as well. And I've talked about this on my podcast as well, but for your listeners, I don't know if you saw when I was sort of knocking about a bit with that artist called Sophie Tea. Yeah, do you know her? Have you seen her content?
Just from the reels you've posted and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, right. So Sophie Tea's an artist who's, like, absolutely crushing it right now. And she's really inspired me, and, like, the way she does her social media to also, like, fight for a cause. Like, she helps all these charity shops. So she basically goes into a charity shop, picks an item, paints it, and then comes back and then raffles it off to whoever shows up. And it's a really genius, engaging way to involve the public, get her name out there, and also do some really good stuff for charity. And it's just really taken off for her. I mean, before that, I think, like, what really kicked it off for her was this Send Nudes campaign, where she was painting women and giving them, like, an experience of, like, just basically helping them through, like, body image, and just, like, offering to paint people naked to give them, like, a nice sort of liberating experience. And that really kicked it off for her, the Send Nudes campaign. She basically just put a message out there and said, send me nudes, and she had, like, thousands of people just go into her inbox. And then basically filled up, like, the London Palladium with a catwalk show. And yeah, it just really kicked off for her. Like, then I've sort of been following that journey, and then I saw the charity shop thing, and I was like, that's really clever with the social media thing. And social media is, like, as we all know, it's a pain in our bums to try and, and as an artist and a creative, like, it's kind of the way to market yourself now. Like, if you want to get yourself out there and your name out there, you need to really invest in your social media and the time that you spend on it, which it can be annoying, but I actually really enjoy it. But, like, so yeah, I did one of my praise to the universe when I was out in Bali, because I was like, I think it was like, I want the universe to slap me around the face to show I'm on the right path. And that was when I was, before I was about to come home to do my Christmas and taxes thing that I like to say. When I come home, I come home from Bali every November to see the family, do Christmas, and do my taxes. Then I go back again. And then I thought, do you know what? After I'd done these meditations on, like, trying to get an answer to say that I'm on the right path, I thought, I'm going to message Sophie to see if she wants to be on my podcast. And she replied. She had, like, 6K followers on there. I didn't think it. I just thought it'd just go straight into a spam. She sent me a message saying, alex@sophietea.com, if we can talk about this. I'm like, yes, there's a sign. Messaged Alex. Alex was like, I love the concept and what you want to talk about. I basically wanted to talk about, not about her backstory and how she became a successful artist, but what she's doing to impact the community with her social media. And they said they loved the idea, and they said they'll pencil me in for the new year. And I'm like, happy days. I might even be able to go and do it face to face because I'm going to be back in the UK. And yeah, so that was the sign that I was looking for. But then I also needed to put my room up for rent, and obviously when I'm away, I'd only be paying rent. So I put it up for sublet for 2 months, and this girl responded to my ad, came into the room and was like, wow, I love your art. I used to sell art in London. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. She goes, yeah, do you know Sophie Tea? I'm like, what? This is like a couple of days later, and I'm like, yeah, I literally just finished a conversation thread on email with her manager to get her on my podcast. She's like, no way, she's my best friend. For all the people that could have like come to my bedroom to look at my art and want to rent my space. And then I was like, and then she said, you should write this on your vision board. And I said, I did. Look at my whiteboard. And I've got Sophie Tea follow up in the new year. She takes a photo of it, sends it to Sophie, sends a voice note from me to Sophie to introduce myself. I don't think Sophie even heard that because she doesn't listen to voice notes. I heard later on. Anyway, I did. That was just like another thing that blew my mind. I was like, my gosh, definitely on the right path. So day or two later, I get a message from this lady, and Hannah, if you're listening, big shout out to you. She said, well, she didn't end up taking my room, but she said, 2 things, Graham. I'll take the room, and you'll never guess what, but Sophie lands in Bali on Monday. I'm like, what? And then she said, yeah, I need to add you into a WhatsApp chat with myself and Alex, so she can either paint in your studio or you can organise some art supplies for her. And I'm like, yes, okay. I was like, oh, okay, great. So from like a few days ago of praying to the universe with my meditation and just putting it out there, asking if Sophie wants to be on my podcast, I'm about to meet her in real person like the following weekend. And yeah, she came to Bali, and one thing led to another that I ended up actually doing I produced one of her charity shop Bali edition. She wanted her to go and do a charity shop in Bali, so I found the only charity shop that was in Ubud, and then like ended up taking like going I was only supposed to like go to part of the day where I organized all that, but she has to go and paint somewhere. So I found my friend's art school that she could paint. She could go and get the object and go and paint it there before she goes back to raffle it off. But then Alex messaged me, said, "Oh, by the way, bad news. I've got Bali belly, so you're gonna have to take Sophie for the whole day." I'm like, "What?" So like the first time I met her, I literally walked into this villa that I'd been told where the location was. She walks out, her hair's all a mess. She looks like a rock star. And then we go off, and I get to see the whole behind the scenes of her process. And we had a camera girl come along, and I just got to see how she did everything with her social media and how she filmed it and how she performed or whatever. And then that night I was having pizza, just me and Sophie went for pizza together at an Italian restaurant. And it was just like one of those moments where I had got to basically almost have like a little mentorship session with someone that's really successful. And that when one thing she said to me was like, yeah, every artist needs to invest in their social media. She says, obviously, yeah, I'm in a privileged position where I can afford it. But like every business needs to invest in their social media. And that just really stuck with me. So when I came back from my Christmas and taxes, I didn't even follow up for a podcast after that because I got a soundbite and I put it on my podcast anyway. But I thought, whatever, like that's just enough for me, And and then I thought, what can I do that's kind of similar in a way. It's like an episodal kind of social media vlog, I guess, like episode 1, 2, 3, like she does with her charity shops, but like isn't like, ripping off her idea, but it's a similar kind of process where I tell my followers I'm going to be at this location at this time, come find me at the beach. So yeah, basically the Splat and Splash came into my mindset and I started developing that idea. And then I started executing it in September this year. The whole concept of the Splat and Splash that I came up with is that I want to advocate for each of the pillars of mental health that I like to talk about. So that's sea swimming. I love doing ocean dips. I think the cold water immersion is amazing for your mental health. I love meditation now. So I'm adding meditation into that. Also dancing. I've got into ecstatic dance over the last couple of years, where you just go to like a sober rave where there's no alcohol involved. You just literally dancing like a lunatic to whatever DJ's playing. And you're just having an amazing connection. And it's almost like in a setting of like kind of like a yoga kind of setting where it's all meditative, it's uplifting, and then it brings you down again, and then you'll have this journey together. So I thought I would love to execute something like that on the beach for people. And then at the same time, I get everyone, I'm creating a body of artwork. So I invite the community to splat the background of a canvas. So if like your YouTube watchers can see behind me, all of the backgrounds are created on these two pieces. So the people that aren't watching, what I do is I get the background, like I put a canvas out, I give them a load of splat bottles, and the guidance is they're not allowed to paint it with brushes. No way. I made that mistake on the first one, mud, basically. I just give them splat bottles and I said, just go for it. Just get all that energy out on the background. So I get these amazing, beautiful cuts.
Yeah. It'll be good for me.
Say it again.
That'd be good for me as someone that can't paint whatsoever.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's just so inclusive. And like, I get the whole like, yeah, I just get like an amazing canvas to work on. And then I respond to it with something to do with that area. So behind me, I have Land's End as the first one. It was the Land's End lobster. I didn't really have that much inspiration about what I was going to paint for the first one, but I wanted the first letter of the name of the place, Land's End lobster. But then St. Ives, the second episode, someone told me, my friend Nigel told me about this seal called Wings. It lives in the harbour, and that's where I did the episode. But yeah, so the St. Ives seal called Wings, I painted this seal with angel wings, and there's an Araby frisbee as a halo, because the story goes that one day Wings got her head stuck in an Araby frisbee and the fisherman had to corner her to pull it off. So I thought, there we go. And then I sell each of those pieces for charity for Youth Art Connect. And I'm selling them for £1,000 each. I've already sold a couple. Someone's even bought one before it's even being created. And that means after doing 30 venues, oh yeah, I missed this bit out. I'm traveling the whole of the UK doing this. So I'm doing a beach every 5 days. What I was doing every 5 days or 4 days, but I realized when I got to Portishead last week, I almost burnt out, because you have to run an event, do the social media, do the painting within 4 days of leaving the last place. And then also like talking to the press, I've got 19 WhatsApp chats running regionally. So I'm basically talking to like different towns around the country to tell them I'm coming, and building that community there as well, which also is a funnel for me as an artist as well. So I'm building my fans offline as well as on social media as well. And yeah, so after we do the dance and splat the canvas, we do the spectacle part, which is the scroll stopper, where, you got 3 seconds of someone's attention on social media, where I normally, what happens is I get covered in paint, but I can't do that at the beach. So people throw ketchup, mayonnaise and mustard at me. And it's just like, it's just for belly laughs. It's performance art, and I look great afterwards. No one wants to give me a hug afterwards, though. And then we go for a swim in the ocean together, and I connect with then I connect with a swimming club in each area, and get their community there. So the heart of the campaign is called Standing Against Loneliness. And what I'm trying to do is, through these videos and my outreach on WhatsApp and through Facebook groups, I'm trying to reach people that might be struggling, that are lonely in the area, to come down to the beach, discover community like the sea swimmers, to make new friends, new loving connections, and also try a bunch of activities that are good for your mental health. And then, it helps me raise awareness and money for the CIC, for Youth Art Connect. Also, I'm raising awareness for local charities in each town that I go to. So every town that I go to, I'll find a local mental health charity that's doing amazing things in the area, and I'll champion them on the day. I'll collaborate with them on the posts, and also just give them a narrative on the day. And everyone that comes to get... Did I mention it was all silent disco headsets as well?
No.
Do you know what? I kind of bodged this up a little bit. Right, let me explain to you exactly how it works. So you find out where I am, you come to the beach. I've got 100 disco headsets. I run a meditation. I play one of my podcast meditations. So I give everyone that experience. Then it flows into ecstatic dance. I lead everyone on a journey. I play like meditative tracks to like slightly cool sort of dancey tracks to full on bangers, like sing along stuff like ABBA and stuff like that, just to get everyone laughing and crying and hugging. And then I bring it down again. We all have this amazing experience. It's just, and people are really touched by it. It's really nice. But yeah, in that one event, I can help champion the charities locally, champion my own organization, Youth Art Connect, and it also gives me a bit of exposure as well, because people are starting to follow me around the country. They're finding out where I'm going to be next. So it's like, like, hi, I'm in Weston-super-Mare, and this is what we got up to today. Watch out, Cardiff, I'm coming for you next. Or Portishead was next after that. But yeah, so I'm now here in Wales, and it's been so beautiful. The journey has been incredible as well. Like, I've just been meeting all these amazing people, seeing all these beautiful places, and making lots of amazing connections. And yeah, like I'm doing it in a Ford Transit van. It's just, I'm full van lifing it right now, it's just like a dream come true. It's so nice.
You become a proper artist, as we last spoke before. Your meditation, the van, but you got the full life.
Yeah, that's it.
And you're yeah, and you're gonna be in Scotland as well, which is exciting. I bet you're excited for
I
how cold that's
am.
gonna be.
I can't wait for Scotland. So Ayr Beach is where I go first, and then I do a mad like 8-hour dash. I think it's a really long drive up to the top. I'm going to Thurso first, because I've chosen some places where I can surf as well. Today I had some really nice waves here in Wales. And Thurso is like a very famous surf break where there's like, I think the O'Neill do the cold water classic there. So I chose that solely selfishly so I could get some good surfing. But then I hit John O'Groats so I can claim the Land's End John O'Groats thing. And then obviously I hit Inverness, and then while I'm going past it, I thought, I've got to go to Loch Ness. I've got to do it, And then after that, I'll be in Edinburgh. I don't know if you're where you are right now. Where are you guys?
Glasgow now, mate. So probably Ayer's the closest, but you'll have to give me a secret warning if you want me to come.
Well, do you know what? Actually, like I was doing these every 4 days. It's actually you actually could be able to predict it now. So if you look at my social media and you see where I'm going to be, I'm doing it weekly, and it's going to be on a Saturday every time. Because I realized when I got to Portishead, I'd done 6 events straight up, back to back, 4 or 5 days in between, and I nearly burnt out. So when I got here to Wales, I was like, oh, I need a rest. I need to restock. I was back behind on a lot of the painting as well. I still am a bit, but I just needed to stop for a bit. So I gave myself a week and a half to recalibrate. And then because I realized, like I'm doing all this for mental health, but at the expense of my own. And ironically, I've put myself in a really lonely position. It's called standing against loneliness. And I'm in a van by myself, and I'm literally running an event every 4 days, which meant I couldn't even connect with the communities I was visiting. I was just busy trying to get the content done and promoting it and making it all work. But now, like, I've chilled, and I'm like, I'm going to give myself an extra 3 days in between, which means I can be me again. I can do my painting like without any stress, without having to force it. I can also connect with the sea swimming groups. So I've been like hanging out with this group called the Dawn Stalkers here in Cardiff, Penarth Beach. And it's been really nice to actually get to know the community before I run the event. So it's going to be every Saturday. So it'll be a Saturday. So when you see that I'm in, I think it's Blackpool is the week before a beach, then it'll give you a bit of chance. Or Liverpool, you'll know you'll have 2 weeks before. But I hope you can come.
Cool. I will do my best to come to one of them. I'll look at what's easiest to get to, because I don't drive, so we'll wait and see. You talked about the social media stuff there, and obviously we'll link all your stuff below, so if people want to find out more about what you've been up to, whether that's on Instagram or whatever you're making content. But do you have any tips for anyone? Anything you've learned that doesn't work? Anything you'd found that works well? Because I think a lot of people that are artists maybe are a bit scared of social media, because they're like, well, I do my painting, but that's a whole different ballpark.
Okay, right. So I would say, like, I still have no idea what works. But they do say, they say consistency is key. And also, like, what I would just say is just make, you hear people say this all the time, but it's so true. Just make something that you enjoy making rather than don't make, but then again, I don't know, you got to feed the algorithm sometimes. So I've also been doing this weird thing where I do these, because I'm in a van, I'm doing these workouts with outdoor showers, and they seem to be doing really well. So on TikTok, my last video that I made for this project for the Portishead was such a beautiful, heartfelt video. It was almost like a documentary. There's so much love gone into it. I make it really emotive and beautiful and nice music that I've licensed, and I really take care of the edit. And I think this is the worst one it's done, and it's it's on a couple hundred views. But then I do a video of me next to an illegal fly tipping area showering my testicles. Not actually, my testicles aren't out, by the way. I'm just I do a thing where it's called washing the bits, and I'm just washing, having a shower, and you got to wash the bits first and then your face. And it's it's a little bit weird, and I don't know if this should go in. Nah, fuck it, put it in. But yeah, and that's got 30,000 views. And I'm what is going on? Why do people like all this rubbish? But, it then brought...
Weirdly, I scrolled past that on your Instagram the other day, and they are weirdly quite, watchable. I don't know why. So it is a weird thing with the algorithm.
Have you been watching me shower?
It did come up, and I was what is Graham making? And then it's why is this people? And I was oh my God, people are really engaging with this. And I was trying to think why.
I know. But it's because I'm washing my bits before my face first. Basically, what happened was I did this outdoor shower thing. I thought, I'll just get my Decathlon pump shower. And I was outside in Saunton Sands.
I think that could be part of it, though. I think it's the novelty. I think it's probably what I felt was interesting was the novelty. I was oh, he's in a van and he's got this weird shower thing. That was more what I was interested in, obviously. But I do think
totally. But what it was, I was responding. The reason I've made the videos a bit more grotesque is because I was responding to someone in the comments, because I literally was showering. I didn't even think about it. I was showering my armpits like that with the soap, and then I went straight to my face, and then someone put armpits to face diabolical, and I was oh, don't give me ideas. So now I'm wash the bits, and then your face, like that. And literally, it causes so many people to comment on and it pushes the algorithm, I guess. But then I put something about my Splat and Splash mental health project that's helping lots of people and people having amazing experience, and no one gives a shit. But the thing is, I don't know, I'm at the beginning of this journey, so who knows? Watch this space. I'm just going to keep going relentlessly. And to be honest, I've come to realize that I just love making them now. And I don't really care if people are watching them or not, because what the magic is happening is in the act of doing it. And I'm connecting with all these people, and the people that are coming to the beach are telling me and messaging me afterwards saying, hey, Graham, I was in such a bad place, and your event, your gathering really uplifted me. I've had a couple of moments where people have opened up to me and told me some really sort of deep, dark secrets they've been battling with. And it's just this moment for them just really gave them space and helped them see some hope and some light. So for me, that's worth anything, And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying making it. I'm enjoying the journey. It's a lot of work. But it's an art project which is going to probably take until March, because now I told you I've extended the time of doing it weekly rather than every 4 days. I was due to finish it in January, but it's probably not going to finish till March now. But
will you still get home in time? We still get home in time for your taxes and all that?
No, I'll be doing that on the road. So Christmas, it looks like I might be in Southend. So if there's any families in Southend listening to this, Southend, I need a spot for Christmas. But I also think what I might do is I'm going to do a Christmas special. Wherever I am going past, it might not be on a Saturday, it might be a different day, but it's Christmas Day, everyone's off work. So I'm going to do a Christmas special. I'm going to find a beach somewhere. It's probably going to be in Southend, and I'm going to invite anyone to come along. I'm going to put on a spread. I'm going to bring the community together, and just anyone that's alone at Christmas can come down, and we can have an amazing afternoon on the beach. Whatever the weather, I'll even I don't know what I'll do. I'm going to figure out a way that even if it's raining, we got some cover and we can go somewhere. I've got a while to figure that out. But yeah, so I'll be doing my taxes in Southend probably.
Oh no, it's an amazing project, man. Fair play to even sometimes as creatives we can get frustrated if only like 200 people have watched the video or something, but it's about the connections and the impact you're having in real life when you're with these people. And
Yeah.
people are coming, and that's the main thing. And it's that, the community stuff's as important. We've been speaking for nearly an hour, so I'm going to start to wrap things. We've got a couple of questions for you. Something we started asking our guests recently is about bad advice, because this industry is full of bad advice. As an artist, what's the worst advice you've received, or what's a bit of bad advice that you hear too often?
Do you know what? Like, I want to answer this, but I really respect the person that gave me the advice. So I won't say it in a way, okay, like it was heartfelt, and of all like good meaning, but it was to do with, and if you are listening, if you do know who you are, I love you. And I respect you so much, and I love all of the advice you've given me. But this one, I think in hindsight, was something that I probably shouldn't have listened to, and I should have gone with my intuition. But it was to do with my subscription service, Patreon. I was advised to put my prices up, like for the Karma cards, and it kind of backfired on me, because like it wasn't. I was pretty much told to double them, and like I doubled the prices, and I didn't grow from that point, and I lost a lot of people that are interested in maybe signing up. So yeah, I would say like that was probably something you need to think about. If you're doing something that you want to build a community to support you monthly on a subscription, you just need to be really careful with that, because you want things to be accessible. Does that make sense?
No, I think
Yeah.
it's a difficult one, because you need to make a living as an artist. And you have
Yeah.
to, especially as inflation and things are happening. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's hard, because if you nudge people too much, then it's like I gave some away. I use them as birthday cards or whatever. I give them to people.
It's not for birthdays, Jamie. It's not for birthdays. It's for
they're
out of the
nice.
blue,
Yeah,
random acts of
I
kindness.
know,
You can
but
buy
they're
a birthday
nice. They're
card from a
nice
shop.
cards to gift people. They're nice, and then it comes with the extra message as well. But you're right. I should maybe
I
just
know.
gift them to people. But they come in handy, and
Use
some
it.
of them are put up and stuff. But are you still doing the karma card stuff? Is that still all
Well,
active?
it's no, it's not really anymore. So because obviously like I'm putting the way I do my Patreon now for people to to sponsor me monthly, I just want people to come on board for my message, the fact that I'm doing so much good into the world, because it did become quite a task to give out physical things to people. And when you're a one-man band, and you're trying to wear all the hats and do everything else, it became an extra thing that was really it was kind of taxing for the people that like yourself that have been like loyal, like Patreon supporters. Like I've still got a list of those people that are from the beginning, and you guys get a couple of prints. I think I did last time in the post. Did you
Yeah, I
receive
think it's
yours?
these ones. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm still like giving that to the people that came on from the beginning, but from now on, basically, just I've got no price on my Patreon, and I just let people just support me for whatever they want. It could be £1, if they're getting value out of the podcast and the meditations that I make and the stuff that I do in the mental health space. I feel like that should be enough for people to pledge me, and actually, people are starting to join again with that, which is nice. And yeah, but saying that, I will like to bring something back like that in the future. Like, I don't know where it is, but right now, like, I've got so much going on that I couldn't even possibly think about that. But I'm making money by selling my prints wherever I go. I normally rock up at like a boot sale or a market. Actually, the other morning in Cardiff, I went out for a night out with my friends, to catch up, and the beauty of van life. I parked right in the city centre next to the stadium across the river. And then I heard all this commotion as I woke up. I was like, right, I've got till 10 o'clock to sober up. That's when the ticket guy comes. Then I opened up the door like that, and the commotion was all these tents were being put up, and it was a market. And I spoke to the market guy. I was like, dude, do you mind if I just paint here and put my prints to help for my cause. He was like, yeah, go on then. He turned a blind eye to all the insurances, and I made like 130 quid. And it was so, and I've got to talk to so many people about the project. Right. So yeah, I've been really enjoying the art markets and boot sales lately.
Yeah, well, before I ask Graham my last question, you can support Graham's Patreon or anything he's doing as well. We've also just Get Real Job just launched the Buy Me a Coffee page as well, because I think a lot of the time people don't, necessarily can't afford to subscribe to Patreon because they can't afford to pay monthly. But even if you want to make a one-off donation to us, if it's £1, if it's a £5, anything, all helps go back into making the show the best it can be. But Graham, last question for you. Obviously, we haven't spoken properly on this podcast for 4 years, but what's the biggest lesson you've learned in the last 4 years since we last spoke?
That's a big question, isn't it? Biggest lesson. I think the biggest lesson in the last 4 years that I've learned is to reevaluate all the relationships I've had with different people. I spoke about this on another podcast recently to do with neurodivergence, like autism, ADHD, and the way that we all are wired up differently. And I've been like looking back at my friendships or relationships that have not gone the way that they should have, and I now can like look back at them with compassion and to realize that actually like there's probably more to what we see, and that person might just be wired up differently, and I love them still. That's something that I've learned. I've learned that to basically just look at people in a completely different way now. And if does that make sense?
Almost learning to forgive, but also just understand stuff going on, and it's not always personal.
Exactly. Yeah, that's something. If you can take a bit of time to just to learn about yourself first and what makes you operate in this world, can also really help you understand other people. So do the work on yourself will help you doing the work on compassion for others. And another big lesson is, with all of the shit that's going on in this world, is just all I want to do is be the kindest person I can be to the next person. And that's as much as I can do. That's as much as I think we should do. Don't let all of the stuff in the world like affect you. I know it's hard to say that. I don't know. It's quite deep, isn't it?
Yeah, but a nice place to end.
Yeah.
Graham, thank you very much for coming back on the show. It's lovely to reconnect. And, one of my favourite things about doing this podcast is we collect all this stuff over the years, and you meet people, and do you know what I mean? Like, get this art, whether it's from you or, I've meet other people I've had on, and I've got like t-shirts from their bands or whatever. All that stuff is so nice to have, like, collect, mark your life like that. So pleasure to reconnect, and good luck with the rest of your tour, and I hope your taxes are not too bad on the road.
Yeah, that'd be all right. I've got a whole load of receipts in a Ziploc bag, which I need to go through.
Pleasure to speak to you, mate.
Pleasure.
Just get a real job.